It's a beautiful day here in Hyderabad as we await the second test match between India and West Indies. And I've got Sunil Gavaskar and Ian Bishop besides me. In fact, Sunny, if I could ask you, 2 years ago, almost to the day, what were you doing?
Good morning, Mayanti. Good morning, Bish. Yes, 2 years ago, I presented Virat Kohli with the ICC Mace.
In fact, they beat West Indies in this test match. Then Team India are looking at 4 consecutive test victories here at this venue. Invigorated after their biggest win in test cricket against a side that have not beaten them in 16 years. Let's find out what's on the show. Now, of course, the #1 test side in the world does need to be wary because there are a couple of big favourites that are expected to be back for the West Indies. However, with the ODI squad just having been announced, we follow the Blues to see how Team India prepared for this second test match. There you go, Team India all set for this one, and we're all set here in our studios. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Karthika joins us. So you just missed the little opening that we had, you know, the small exchange of words that tends to happen, and that's when you want to see a contest. That's exactly what you expect. But look, Team India from this point of view have an opportunity to equal Australia's 10 consecutive series victories at home. And they've not left us in any suspense. We've announced a 12-man squad already. Same to be expected. So no surprises there, Sunny.
No surprises. And why would they have any changes?
Certainly be that opportunity. Look, traditionally, of the 4 test matches that have been played here, 70% of the wickets have gone to the spinners. So we could expect the 3 to play again. But a word on Shardul Thakur here. You know, he's kind of been travelling with the team for a long time, whether it's in whites, whether it's in colours as well. Great opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a proud day for him.
It's a great audition as Team India travel overseas. You need as many wares as possible. But look, every time we speak of the captain, King Kohli, Virat Kohli, he just keeps on accumulating the numbers, adding chapters to the history book. Here are the latest milestones that King Kohli has achieved. It's exciting for us to keep track of those records, those numbers, those milestones. You know, you continue your scrapbooks. But the team man aspect, where 100 is not enough because you know you want to pitch those big totals, you want to get those 500s, those 600s. 100 is not enough. I think there's a lot to be said with a statement like that.
Yeah, look, absolutely. I think you cannot completely echo what Sunny Bhai said, and also what I feel with him having once again.
Talk about something like comfort zone. Let's talk about KL Rahul for a second here. If you look at his past 8 dismissals across formats, it's either LBW or bowl. The in-swinging delivery has troubled him. In 2018, 15 out of 16 matches, those dismissals have been to pace. What must his game plan be today? Thank you very much, Akash. Now let's talk about the West Indies here. Let's go back to what happened at Headingley, what happened at Sharjah. This is a team that can bounce back when the chips are down, with some of their favourites returning today. Who are the players that Team India should be wary of? Couple of days since we made our way from Rajkot here to Hyderabad. A couple of days is enough to change things around, to mentally be in a different space, and with big names returning. Makes a huge difference, Bish?
I think significant difference, Mayanti. Sunny
Holder said that as well at the press conference. And the critics speak, the best way to do the talking is with the bat. So we're expecting quite a contest here, aren't we? We'll take a breather on Nerolac Cricket Live. There's plenty more on the show for you today. We'll get your pitch report and, of course, the toss coming up.
More than 428.
And what we managed to see in the last couple of matches that have been played here as well, 70% of the wickets have fallen to spin. In fact, 17 of the wickets in Rajkot, West Indian wickets, fell to the spinners. So to give you an idea of what the combination could be, let's have a look. Let's go to the captains for the toss.
Bat first.
Yes, thank you very much for that, Karthik. Exactly what we expected if you win the toss, bat first in these conditions. And we did show you those visuals of Shardul Thakur getting the cap. You heard the captain himself saying, this is an opportunity, let's make the most of it. Especially if you're going to be touring overseas, you need reserves in your seamers, don't you?
Absolutely. And I think perhaps for Shardul Thakur, the fact that he's on the flight to Australia.
That's the thing. A lot of this is the audition really for going overseas. But look, for Ravichandran Ashwin, this is his happy hunting ground. He averages 15. He's had his career best figures. He's taken 3 fifers in Hyderabad. It's no surprise that when he walked in, he had a big smile on his face. The bragging rights.
Of that, you know, one-upmanship. I think that's even better.
It makes for a fun contest. Let's have a look at this West Indies team now. A couple of changes. Warrican is in, but no Kemar Roach.
by just playing the two seamers. I was certainly looking to go for 3+2.
Maybe because of the conditions, because that seems to be the case for Team India. We do know that Shardul is making
That encouragement.
partnerships will agree. Just a reminder, 428 is the average first inning scores here in Hyderabad. A quick word, Bish, on Kuldeep. You know, what a change that was. The morning session when he bowled, and it comes down to application. West Indies, you won the toss. You elected to bat first on conditions that you know are favourable at the top. It's how you apply yourselves. It comes down to the big, whether it comes down to a breath, whether it comes down to a power, to just do things differently this time around.
Well, they've got to remember it's a 5-day game.
So that's what Sunny said. When the spinners do come on, this is an intriguing battle where you have Ashwin versus Powell. It will come down to that application. And, you use the word in the sense that ability. You have the ability. Is it down to the application? You would have had an opportunity to speak to some of these batsmen. They know very well you're going to contend with Ashwin and Jadeja and Kuldeep.
Oh, look, there are a number of things. I mean, you look at the stats. Kyran Powell.
Okay, not bad. Just a minute difference over there. That's how we like our predictions here. So much on the... Thanks so much for joining us here on Nerulak Cricket Live. We're actually quite enjoying ourselves outside here in Hyderabad. Darren Ganga with me. And first and foremost, all hail the mighty Sunil Gavaskar for his bang-on prediction.
Not quite bad.
Yadav, and he picked up that important wicket of Shehub.
Speaking of that, I mean, you have a look at Kuldeep Yadav and you just look at the setup. We'll bring the hawk in this and Sunny and get you.
Wickets.
You've mentioned the big heart. That is something that Virat Kohli as a captain really appreciates. He wants to see that fearlessness. In Rajkot, we showed you part 1 of the Mega Icons documentary, the fearlessness that makes Virat Kohli the champion that he is today. Let's take a recap of that. One of the most telling aspects of that conversation, hearing from Virat Kohli, was the impact of his childhood, how much it has affected him to be the champion that he is today. Now we bring you part 2 of Mega Icons, and maybe some of you Virat Kohli fans can gain a little bit of an insight as to what gives him the drive and ambition to be a world beater. The one thing that I've taken away from that is Virat Kohli's ability to just be able to tune everything else. It really is an extraordinary life skill. Look, on that note, we're going to take a breather here on Nerulak Cricket Live. When we come back, we've got a masterclass from Brett Lee, and we continue to build up to the post-lunch session. Stay with us. Thanks so much for staying with us. With Shardul Thakur's injury, it kind of brings into perspective the workload that a fast bowler goes through. So Brett Lee gives us a masterclass that you've been seeing at all our lunch shows and tea shows here on Nerulak Cricket Live. He once told me that the impact on his landing foot is 16 times his body weight. How important is the follow-through for a fast bowler? Our Baiju's masterclass. Thank you so much, Binga. Just kind of puts things into perspective as to how Team India, the management across the formats, are trying to manage the workload for the fast bowlers. Shami rested for this, which means they gave an opportunity for Shardul Thakur to make his debut. Now, I'll show you these images. This is not what you want to be going. Just take somewhat prevention right now rather than aggravate it. Okay, let's get down to what needs to happen. Darren, you would know that for West Indies, their middle order isn't the best average of recent times against test playing nations, just about 29. So how do you consolidate and get through what is still good conditions to bat in?
Yeah, I would like to see this.
As well, and maybe 85 runs again for 2 wickets.
Try and take advantage of the fact that you didn't have Shardul, and also you're putting Umesh under a little bit of pressure as well, really. I think that's also the key here, because yes, you do have the spinners to contend with, but you can put India seamers under a touch of pressure now.
Yeah, I think the fact that win this batting lineup.
Should be a good session coming up. We'll see you later on at tea on Nerulak Cricket Live. See you in a bit. Certainly Will would have had quite a bit of a chat with some of his teammates as well, and eventually that's what happens. You learn so much just sharing a dressing room with your contemporaries. You hear so many stories, you take motivation, sometimes you take a lot of laughs as well. Here's a very, very special story between 2 teammates. Thanks so much for joining us here on Nerulak Cricket Live. A dramatically different session, wasn't it, that one? And I just feel for Roston Chase. 2 away from what would have been a hard-earned century, a second against India. But that's what happens sometimes in this brilliant game, isn't it? And he's obviously been there, done that before. He understands that this is what it takes.
Absolutely right. It doesn't.
And we want to explore that process. That's why he really is an axe ticket player of the day.
pitch today?
Rock solid since 2017, as those figures will show you. He's now the highest run scorer for West Indies currently. He's giving you vintage West Indies vibes as well, with the cap and the beard. I mean, it's, you know, it's drawing those sort of illusions. But that century partnership, especially with Jason Holder, that was the need of the hour.
It was.
Holder and Chase have now shared 3 century partnerships with the 7th wicket. It makes them the only pair in Test cricket that have done that. 2 of those have come against India.
Yes, sometimes you fancy a few sides. And look, and also I think as partners, you have that special partner with whom you feel comfortable. You feel just very good batting.
I think you guys knew, considering you were at commentary at that point, but I understand what you're trying to say, which brings the question whether you want to see Jason Holder batting higher up. That is what I'm going to ask Bish when we come back after this breather here on Relax Cricket. Thanks so much for staying with us. So now that Bish has had enough time to think about that answer, you want Jason Holder batting higher up?
I think Jason is getting to that.
Trusting our defence and accumulating runs rather than trying to bash our way out of trouble.
What's your process now, knowing that you walk in tomorrow on 98 with the whole world watching you? What are the plans? You look that you're not perturbed at all. They both use the word unflappable. But what's your process? What's actually going through your mind?
I will say it is not.
Well, I know personally we've all been discussing how much you enjoy batting against India. You're averaging in the 40s. They already scored 100 against them. What's your game plan for tomorrow? Still expect the conditions to be good? How crucial will that morning session be for you? Knowing that, yes, Umesh is there, we still have no word on Shardul.
Yeah, well, tomorrow, me and Bishu, we just have to let to bat as long as possible and take it.
Take it.
Obviously, it's got to be a different game plan. You're in a position that you weren't in Rajkot for tomorrow. You know exactly what you're going to expect. Like I said, we don't know on Shardul just yet. So you have Umesh and the bowlers to contend with that you've now managed to bat against quite well.
Yeah, and look, I wish they played 5 bowlers. I really do.
It certainly does come down to that. In fact, if you've been listening to what Karthik has been saying since Rajkot when it comes to someone like Kuldeep, I mean, just these last couple of days, there's been a huge